Hey guys, Kira here, and this time I'm going to be reviewing Attack on Titan, both the anime and the manga. After that, I'll probably do a Tokyo Revengers review or another video, or maybe a weekly review, but I'm not too sure yet. Anyways, the way I'll be doing this is similar to the Magi one, but I'll be doing a few changes to give you a more solid idea of what I think, so I'll give you like ratings. Also, by the way, the reason I try to keep these spoiler free is because I know some people, instead of looking up recommendation videos, they go to reviews. So this way they won't be spoiled when they're trying to see how good the series is, like what they're getting into. Also, I just don't think you really need spoilers for a review, so anime onlys can watch the video and they don't have to worry about getting spoiled about the manga. Although how things are right now, they probably already have been spoiled, but just try to lower the amount of people to get spoiled. As for the story, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 personally. The story for AOT is good and all. I wouldn't say it's great in terms of how I enjoyed it, but I can definitely see why someone would have would have it higher or as their favorites, since it's a pretty unique and actually interesting one. I just don't know why, but when it comes to the story alone, I actually preferred it in the anime than in the manga. Probably because I joined the anime a lot more in like every aspect, because the manga, I don't know, I generally don't like series with like 40-page chapters, or at least I don't like trying to catch up on series with 40-page chapters. If I'm already caught up with it, I don't mind because it's more content, but at the same time, I'm trying to catch up to it. It's like only 20 chapters, and I realize it's 40 pages, so it's a lot more than it is. Plus, I try to go like one chapter at a time. It just feels like way too much. That's just me though. I can see why someone would prefer those 40-page chapters. The story is good though, I can't deny that. I personally enjoyed Return to Shiganshina and Marley the most out of any of the arcs. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I definitely preferred Return to Shiganshina over Marley or War on Paradise. I actually don't know how to say it. I just found it more enjoyable, but I'm gonna wait and see how one, the ending is, and two, if the anime does War on Paradise really well, because if it does, then that'll probably change my ranking. But I do doubt it's gonna beat Return to Shiganshina, as that was just really good, and watching it weekly was even better. It is probably a slight possibility, if the ending is really good, that I might like War on Paradise better. But I doubt it. If the ending's really good, I'll probably just like it more than Marley. Although the way it is going, I'm doubting it's gonna beat Return to Shiganshina, as I'm not even sure if it's gonna have a really good ending. But I don't want to criticize it too much, because there's a lot that can be done. And I doubt that after this long, the author is just gonna mess up the ending. But yeah, anyways, I'd say my top 3 arcs would probably be, from top to bottom, I think it'd be Return to Shiganshina, Marley, and War on Paradise would be in 3rd place. But since War on Paradise isn't really done, I can't really say much. The rumbling and them getting to the rumbling was also pretty good. The ending is really good though, then it might beat it, but I don't really think it will. But yeah, I don't really have much to say on that. Too much on the story. I think the story gets better as you get on with this series. I do think Attack on Titan starts off pretty slow especially in the anime, and then it builds up, and then eventually reaches like season 3 part 2, and then Marley, and then everything else, which is just really good, and I can easily see why it'd be someone's favorite anime. Now, as for the characters, I'd give them like a 7 out of 10, because I honestly can't think of more than 3 that I actually really like, and the rest are just there, or I barely like. To me personally, Eren and Reiner carry the cast. That's just something I find hard to deny, even if you're a fan of the series. I mean, I don't dislike any of the characters, but at the same time, I want to say there are more than 3 to 4 really good ones. The rest just aren't that good. I'd say without a doubt they easily carry the cast. And while there are other characters in the show like Levi or Erwin or anyone else, I don't really find many of them as intriguing or as entertaining as the other 2. Erwin is pretty good, I'll admit, but I think he has like his moments. I honestly just forgot about him recently, and so I just looked him up. I'm not gonna lie. But it can definitely be I doubt it's gonna be someone's favorite cast, but it can definitely have someone's favorite character, like favorite side character, favorite antagonist, favorite protagonist. I just don't think it's as strong as it's It's very top heavy. There's a lot of characters. There's a few good characters at the top, and then the rest are just like there's a big gap between them. Like they're still good, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, if you look at an Attack on Titan favorite characters, the top 4 is almost gonna always be the same. The rest is generally just gonna be some other characters that don't get that much screen time, or it's just not gonna be as interesting. A lot of people, the main differences are in the 10 to let's say 5. The top 5 is almost always the same characters, just probably a slightly different order. And that's not the person's fault. I just think that the series is top heavy, which isn't that good of a thing, but it's also not a horrible thing for a series. It's not gonna make or break a series. It's just I'd rather have a cast that's like consistently good, not have anyone that's amazing, but also have every character just be very likable. I can't really think of any examples, as most of my favorite casts are just like, they're top heavy and at the same time they're also consistently good. Like Magi, One Piece, or Kingdom, they all have amazing characters, and then like the tier below them is still pretty good. And I see that the case for Attack on Titan, for example, you have all the characters, Zeke, Armin, Levi, Reiner, all that. And then you have, let's say the next best character, let's say it's Levi. I personally prefer Urban, but let's use Levi as an example. Yes, he has a, what's it called, an OVA, but aside from that, and it's probably gonna get an A, like some fans mad, but I'd say most of his character relies on Erwin, the OVA, Kenny, and him just being cool. I don't really find personally, unless there might be something I just didn't notice, but from what I remember seeing in the anime and in the manga, that's most of his character. And that may be your kind of thing. I'm not gonna diss it. Simple characters are also always fun, but I'm just trying to say that I feel like there are other ways that he could, like, other characters could have been handled better, or they could have overall more consistently good casts, is what I'm trying to say. And now, as of the recording of this video, I just remembered how toxic the fandom can be, so I'm gonna say some nice things before they come attacking me, because it might seem like I just don't like the series. I do like the series. It's just I had more negative things to say than positive, as everything good about Attack on Titan has already been said 1,000 times. But Eren is a really good protagonist. I don't think he's personally top 10, but he's still top 20. Erwin is a great leader. I made a post that has him as like one of the main characters of the post. Levi, I can see why some people might like him. Reiner is really good. Zeke is really good. The art's pretty good. It's not the best at times. I personally read it colored, which I think is a mistake. I think if you're gonna read Attack on Titan, it has to be black and white, as you can feel more of the emotion. Because when I was reading it colored, I'm like, yo, there's kind of a lack of emotion. And I read it black and white, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. The black and white version has more. I don't know. I personally feel like it has much more emotion in the art. The color version actually colors them really well, which is kind of rare for some series. I just don't think the emotion is really portrayed as well. It is way more consistent. I feel like Attack on Titan has some times where like there's really not many good panels. I think that the color version elevates the less good panels up, but also downgrades the really good panels downward. So it's just more not that good. It's just not as good. So after a while reading the color version, I decided to read the black and white. If you sort of want an example of this, I think the best example I could provide is a rage scene. You won't feel like the characters as mad as they really are in the colored version, but in the black and white version, they all seem more mad. Or like, for example, a scene where a character is sad, you won't be able to feel their sadness and sorrow. Oh yeah, wait, that's an RTSD. You won't feel that sadness and sorrow as much, but you will feel like it won't be as big or impactful than something else. So if you're gonna read the manga, I personally recommend the black and white version. But if you want to like look at panels at least, then I'd say colored is for you. It just depends on your taste. I definitely would recommend just in general the black and white version. But basically, what I'm trying to get at right now is that the color version provides more pretty and just beautiful looking panels, where the black and white version provides more emotional panels that feel more raw. I don't want to get too much into that, as that's not what this video is about. But now I'm trying to get into more of the stuff that, doesn't really need a whole section. So music, animation, all of that. Let's get straight to it. So before I forget, the story I'd give like an 8. I'd give like an 8.5. The characters I'd give a 7, 7.5. Actually, give the story like an 8.5 to 9. And so far that's it. I'll say my ratings for everything else later on. So basically, after I finish talking about certain things, say music, then I'll give my rating of the music in total, my favorite piece of music, and you get the deal. I've done this before anyway, so I don't really explain it. Speaking of music, I'll start with the music. The music in Attack on Titan, it doesn't really miss for most part. I don't like opening 2, I think it's called Red Swan. I personally like all the Linked Horizon openings. Opening 5 is by far my favorite. Opening 3 is great. My War is a good opening too. It was definitely overhated in the start when it came out, but now people are just really liking the opening, which generally happens with any opening that just isn't normal. I think the OSTs all serve their job. If they want to make you sad, they can do that. If they want to make you more hype, they can do that, like You See Big Girl. If they want to create suspense, they do that. If you want to do this, they do it. And they're almost all, I'd say they're all placed at a great time. The only time I personally changed the OST they used was for the episode called Declaration of War. I'm not saying they should use You See Big Girl like some people. I'd admit that just doesn't fit. But I think I'm pretty sure it was the opening and not the opening, the OST and the trailer. I'd say the OST and the trailer would have fit better. I saw some videos of people playing the OST with that trailer, and it looked better, it sounded better, it felt better. And then when I actually watched the opening, and not the opening, the scene, it just didn't feel as good. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying MAPPA isn't doing a great job. They're doing a great job, especially with all the hate they're getting. They definitely they need more support. I'm just trying to say for that specific scene, I think a different OST should have been used. It's still a good scene, I'm just saying. And besides that, I'd give them, I say opening 5 my favorite, opening 3 is the second best, then opening 1 that my war, and I really don't remember the other ones, I'm gonna be honest. Overall, I'd give the soundtrack like I'd say a 9.5. I don't want to give it a 10 because Red Swan isn't that good of an opening in my opinion, and I don't remember what opening 4 is, which isn't a good sign. And now for the animation. I definitely think MAPPA is being more accurate to the manga when it comes to animation. If you see a lot of like the side-by-side panels, it looks straight out of the manga. On the contrary, Wit's art style for Attack on Titan just doesn't really fit as well. So I definitely think MAPPA wins on the art style factor, but you counter in like the fluidity of the movements and all that, and the usage of most CGI, I'd say Wit wins. The only time I'd say that MAPPA does it better is with the Colossal Titan. I think there's no doubt in my mind that MAPPA made the Colossal Titan look a lot better, just a million times better, and it just looks good. In my opinion, the Colossal Titan in Wit, it just looked ugly with all that. I mean, the CGI doesn't really fit with the Colossal Titan in Wit, whereas with with MAPPA, it looks just really good. I don't know how much better I'd say the Colossal Titan is in MAPPA. Just watch this. It's a million times better, bro. To be honest, I just figured out how to do like 20 minutes ago, and I just really want to find a time to use it. But I'm trying to get my point across that I definitely think MAPPA does the Colossal Titan a million times better than Wit. Wit makes it look ugly. MAPPA makes it look like the best looking Titan in the whole series. Yeah, aside from that, I'd definitely say MAPPA does it better, except in that situation. I'd like to give it like a 9, definitely. It's not the best animation I've seen. I like to keep that to like any UFO table work. But yeah, I'd say it's definitely like a 9 when it comes to animation. Yeah. Oh yeah, I already said it, but the art's pretty good. It looks way prettier in colored. The manga covers are actually better than the art itself. They look really good. The last thing I want to mention before I get to the conclusion is how toxic the Attack on Titan fandom is. It easily became my least favorite fandom in less than a season. They sent death threats to like everyone involved with the show just for killing off a character, which any other series has done a million times. I wouldn't be surprised if they did what some My Hero fans did and sent death threats to the animators because a cloud was off. The animation is really good and they're still complaining about it. Easily the most ungrateful fandom alongside My Hero. MAPPA could have easily just not given them another season and given a break to their poor animators, which probably just never leave the animating room with how much shows they have. I'm actually worried for their safety at this rate. But like, yeah, we of the Magi fandom would gladly take another season over Attack on Titans. I wouldn't complain, and I actually do want to see what would happen if they just canceled Attack on Titan just because of how many death threats got sent to the animators. I just want to see the fandom's reaction. It'd be hilarious in my opinion. But yeah, all that to say, I definitely think Attack on Titan is just a must watch or a must read. Not because I personally think it's like as good as other series I've called that, like Kingdom or Magi, but it's just so mainstream that you could probably know the whole story without even watching it. And it's really hard for me to like see someone not liking the show. It's a really likable show. Hard to find many flaws with, and although I may have done more criticizing than I did like praising, I do actually like the show. It's in my top 10, I think, top 15. I had to think about it, and I am sad to say, sad to know that it's gonna be ending soon, especially with the anime too. I'll definitely be more excited about the anime though, although I'm probably just gonna get spoiled on every clip before I even get to watch the show episode, but whatever. Anyways, that is everything I have for you guys today. I hope you really enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have anything you want to let me know down below in the comments. I want to try and get this video out within the next 3 days. As of today, it is March 12th, 2021. So let's see how this actually goes. It'll probably take me 2 or 3 days of editing. That's why I'm feeling extra motivated, but we'll see. Anyways, have a great rest of your day and peace.